I'd like to thank June's Journey for sponsoring today's video. Now with my first DIY here, we are going to take some of these essentials. They're kind of like organization. You can put them in your bathroom. You can do a lot of cool things with them. And we've got a couple dowel rods and then this Happy Easter sign from Dollar Tree. And we're also going to use a bunch of candy. All of this candy also did come from the Dollar Tree, and as you can see, I like variety. I have a lot of different types. Now the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and remove the plastic from our kind of organizers here. And what I'm going to be doing is we're going to keep one organizer with the lid intact, and then the other two organizers we're actually going to put the lid aside. Now to create this kind of candy station that I'm going to be doing here, we are actually going to be using hot glue. And the reason why I'm using hot glue is because you can take your heat gun to it after you have kind of created your Easter candy stand, and you can melt that glue and you can kind of pull that glue off of these, so you can use this again very, very easily. This is a great way to kind of recycle and reuse these organizational bins for exactly what you're wanting to do. Now, again, putting those lids aside for those two, we've got two layers here that we're kind of glue together. And to do that, we're literally just going to glue them together, just like I said. Now there's a little strip there at the top that you can add a fairly generous amount of hot glue to, and that will help keep everything intact. Now, if you wanted something a little more sturdy, you could certainly add some popsicle sticks and different things like that to help brace this. Also, if you wanted to make this like a full-time candy stand, go ahead and paint it. Paint it with some spray paint and, you know, enjoy it. Now, my dowel rods are a little bit too long, so I am going to cut them down. And I literally just kind of eyeballed it. Now, the dowel rods we are going to glue on the back side of our candy station here. You can kind of see it's kind of like a little stadium seating. And what I like about this too is because the middle layer, or that top layer, is glued on top of the box down below. That's where you can keep extra candy. That way you can keep everything nice and full looking, and then you have an area to kind of replenish with. So simply take your dowel rods, you're going to add a generous amount of hot glue onto those, and again, you're just going to glue these directly onto those kind of acrylic boxes. And again, if you want to recycle this, you want to use this for another project, all you have to do is heat up that glue. You could change this out even. You could make a seasonal candy stand and have one for every single season. For my Easter sign, I did separate those. I'm only going to use the Easter portion, and then of course the adorable bunny. And laying this down on its backside, you can kind of see where the signs could be. You can totally eyeball this. And I am just kind of starting those at the, not quite the base of where the acrylic box starts, but going up a little bit higher. And then again, I'm just adding hot glue here. I'm totally eyeballing this. You can do this if you want to have exact measurements and make it precise. Totally up to you. The great thing also is while that glue is still warm, you can kind of adjust your sign accordingly. And I'm just kind of sticking my thumbs down there in the bottom of it and just making sure that that's at the size that I want. And then the Easter bunny sits kind of almost perfectly on top of here. If you wanted to even overlap the bunny to let him cover that Easter sign, you could definitely do that as well. And if you really wanted to keep all three of the elements of that original sign intact, you could have used just the longer dowel rods. I didn't really like it that high. I did think about doing that at one point, but I'll recycle and I'll reuse that part of that sign for another project. Now, again, centering your bunny, you can see how his feet kind of hug each edge of that Easter sign. And the great thing about using hot glue with something like this is that it dries really, really fast. And now the fun part, creating that Easter candy kind of dish. It's not really a dish because it's a lot of candy. However, fill it up with your favorite Easter candy, with your kids' favorite candy. This could be something you put out on the countertop when they come home from school, especially leading up to Easter. It's such a fun way to just kind of display some candy and fill it with your favorites. These strawberry candies were my grandmother's favorites, so I always get those. And then we've got just some jelly beans and different things, and it is so adorable. I love the way this turned out. I think it's the perfect setting for my tablescape. Hey everyone, so if you love a mystery and an adventure and you love a little 1920s glamour, then I've got the perfect game for you, and that is June's Journey, which by the way is a free to download hidden object mystery game that takes you on a thrilling ride through beautifully crafted scenes. It really is like just getting immersed into this 1920s glam. Now each new scene is going to bring you one step closer to uncovering family secrets and solving the murder of June Parker's sister. And trust me, June has a knack for getting into some tricky situations herself. And by the way, did I mention that this game is free to download? Now, one of my favorite parts is that you can customize, you can remodel, and you can fix up your very own mansion and your garden island. And it's like solving a mystery while living your best life in a 1920s glamorous estate. It is so much fun and so cool. And the fun does not stop just there. There are always new events, new challenges, and competitions where you can earn in-game prizes. You can play solo, you can join a club and compete with others. It's totally up to you. Who knows, maybe we can even play together in a club. Now, personally, I love playing June's Journey as my way to unwind. You guys know I have a lot on my plate, and for me, it's the perfect mix of relaxation and entertainment. Plus, I always feel like a detective when I find those hidden objects, and I'm curious, what is your favorite way to play? Let me know in the comments because I would love to know what your favorite part is. And then also maybe we can play again together because this is free to download. Now, if you are ready to put your detective skills to the test, download June's Journey for free now and use the link below. Now, this is available on iOS, on Android, and PC, so happy sleuthing. But for now, let's get back to those DIYs. Now for this next DIY, I grabbed this adorable beaded bunny kind of wreath. You can totally make one of these with those dollar store wreaths if you wanted to. This I got on like a 60% off sale, I think, for the Easter stuff, so it really wasn't that expensive. I think I got this at, it was either Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I'm going to take an oversized kind of burlap bow. I've got some boxwoods here, and I'm just going to cut these off of the stems. Now, I did get my boxwoods from Amazon, and they are linked in my Amazon store down in the description box below. I really like working with boxwoods. I have found boxwood also at Dollar Tree before, so totally you can get them either way. The great thing about the burlap bow, it's got this kind of twisty tie on the back here, and I'm going to use that to my advantage because, again, I want to be able to recycle this bow, use it for something else. I definitely want to be able to recycle those boxwood stems, and with this, I'm just able to kind of stick the boxwood pieces just kind of under the wire there, which is so great because it's going to hold it in place, and it's also going to allow me to be able to reuse this. Now, just make a nice full kind of batch of your boxwood, and then the great thing about that zip tie or that little twisty tie that's on there is that you can just twisty tie it right onto your wreath form. Again, if you wanted to take the Dollar Tree beaded wreath forms, take 2 of them, bend them, take one, leave it as a circle, obviously, bend it to create the ears. You could have one of these beaded wreaths really easily. And then just kind of fluff out your bow. Now, when I was doing this and I was looking at it, I thought that this was super cute. I did really like this. However, I switched my bow to the top between the ears, and I love it so much more. I think this is super adorable. I love the way this looks, and I cannot wait to put it on my front door for Easter. Now this next DIY is going to be super easy. I grabbed this wreath form from Target's Dollar Spot, and I found this galvanized bunny. Now this galvanized bunny did come from Michael's, I believe, but I've seen these galvanized shapes at Dollar Tree that have these kind of wood pieces on top of them. I don't know if I've seen a bunny or not, but they definitely have some different bunnies. And think about taking like one of those galvanized squares, putting your bunny shape or your wood shape on top of it, and then kind of getting some tin snips, cutting around it. You could totally do this yourself. Now with this bunny, I did keep the string or that twine that was on top of the bunny because that's what I'm going to use to hang this with. And I'm just adding some hot glue. I'm going to add some hot glue at the top, and it holds really well actually. The kind of twine that the little wreath form is made out of is kind of fuzzy, if that makes sense. And then just play around with your, in my case, it's these lamb's ear pieces. One of them fell off. I will glue that one back on. It was so funny. Could you tell it was stuck to a glue string? And I went to pull it away and it like snapped back into place. How funny is that? And again, you're just kind of playing around with this. Manipulate it, squeeze it, do all the things. And look how cute this is. This is such a cute statement for Easter. Love the way this turned out. Now, I know there are some adorable Easter bags and baskets and things at Dollar Tree, but we're going to customize our own here. We're going to take these kind of burlappy bags that you can get at Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section. We're also going to take this kind of felt DIY bunny, and then I did have a Happy Easter kind of cricket stencil that I used. Not a stencil, it's a sticker and a piece of vinyl, and we're going to add that as well. Now, the great thing about this bunny is that all of the pieces that come in this bunny are already cut for you, with the exception of ones that are on that big pink kind of piece that you see there. But you just have to pop them out. They're already cut. They just didn't separate them from, and just follow this little guide. So we are doing this in warp speed. Very, very easy to do this, especially when you've got the kind of designs already cut out for you. You could obviously make this your own using those shapes as your forms, if anything. And we're just going to assemble our bunny. We're going to create the cutest bunny. I've always loved this bunny. Have always wanted to be able to do something with it. Didn't quite know what I wanted to do with it just yet, and when I saw these bags, I thought that this would be perfect. Now we're going to glue this on the back. By the way, all of those pieces do have an adhesive back to them, so you don't have to use hot glue if you don't want to. I just wanted this to hold up better. Now I'm going to take my vinyl decal here. You could use paint markers, you could use paint pens, and I'm just going to add it to this bag. Now this bag kind of looks like it's a burlappy bag, but it's really not. It's kind of like a like a plasticky color or coated burlap. So what's really cool about it is it will adhere, like stickers stick really good to it. Iron-ons have not had a lot of great success with them because it tends to melt the bags. But if you have stickers, if you have probably even rub-on transfers or a decal like this, you can easily make this your own. And look at this. I've got the cutest custom little Easter bag. You could put names on there. There's so many fun things you can do with this. Now this next DIY is probably more spring. It's definitely not an Easter DIY, but it definitely kind of leads to the temperatures and everything that we've got coming up. Take a Dollar Tree vase, take a Dollar Tree solar light, and you're going to take some of these Dollar Tree dessert cups that you can get kind of like in the entertaining kind of area. They come in a 12 pack. You're not going to need 12. You're just going to need one. However, you can obviously use those for desserts at your Easter table. You can put candy in them. You could glue them on top of each other and create little kind of egg shapes. So a lot of fun things you can do with them. Take one of your, what I'm calling now my lampshade, and we're going to add it to the top of our solar light. Now you've got these kind of 4 points where you don't see the, where you don't have any kind of connection with the actual solar panel there at the top. So go ahead and just add some of your hot glue. Now, fun fact about some of these Dollar Tree solar lights, you can actually charge these during the day in your house. So if you wanted to kind of have this as like a little accent lamp in the bathroom, or you wanted to use this outside on your deck or your front porch, you could absolutely do this. Take some glue, add it to the top of your vase, and look how perfect these solar lights fit inside of that little vase. Clean up any of your glue and you've got the cutest little accent lamp. This is kind of what it looks like at dark or at night. The camera's not perfect with that, but I love this so much. I'm going to take 2 of these garland packages that I picked up from Dollar Tree. They were $1.25 each, and I grabbed 2 of them because within the package themselves, there are not 2 of each color. So you'll want to be sure and have at least 2 packages of these to do this particular DIY. For this DIY, for my version of it anyway, I'm going to be using 4 of the bunnies. I want to use 2 of each color, and I'm going to have 4 bunnies in total when I'm done. Now, if you have a 6-seater dining room table or you have an 8-seater dining room table, then you will use that many bunnies to coordinate with however many seats that you have. So on one of the bunnies, I'm going to go ahead and take the tail off. And to do that, all I'm going to do is take some scissors and just trim away that cotton ball. And then all I'm going to do is take my heat gun and just heat up the glue and then remove it with my scraping tool like so. Now, for the bunny that is remaining, that would be the bunny with the cotton tail on it, you are going to then go through and cut the heads off of those bunnies, and you will have two pieces that will end up like this. Then you want to go ahead and just take some hot glue, and you are going to glue the lower part of the body, I guess, from the first bunny back on top of this. And what you're going to essentially be doing is creating a pocket, because you are not going to add glue across the neckline of the bunnies. This sounds so morbid, but I promise you it's going to be really, really cute when it's all done. Now, because this is felt, you do want to do this in smaller batches. So as you can see here, I've got my fine tip gun from Shore Bonder, and I am just going to be going all the way around and making sure that that's glued down. And then I'm going to go up the side. And again, I'm going to make sure that I leave the top part by the neck where I'm sticking my finger in right now. We are going to keep that one fully open. You're not going to want to seal that shut at all. The next thing I did was just take some Dollar Tree ribbon, and I'm going to just tie little tiny bows, and we're going to be gluing these to the tops of the bunny's head to help cover up that hole that is left from me not using these as garland pieces. And now that my bunnies are all done, we are going to take them to the dining room table, and we are going to create some cute little silverware pockets that we can set up for our Easter dinner. I really love the way that these turned out. I think that they're super, super cute, and it's a fun way to decorate for Easter dinner. For my next DIY, I'm going to be using this kissing booth tray that I picked up from Dollar Tree. This was actually Valentine's, and it was on 50% clearance, so I grabbed it up. And then also, I wanted to use this Easter grass inserts that I picked up. I grabbed these at Hobby Lobby, and they were $4.99 each, and I wanted to go ahead and use them to line the inside of this tray. The first thing I wanted to do, though, was paint this tray white, and I'm actually focusing on the outside of the tray and the handles. If I don't fully cover the kissing booth center in the in the center of the tray, then that is not a big deal, because that Easter grass is going to completely cover this. So you are not going to have to even worry about that. You could certainly put several coats on here if you wanted to, or even use some kind of a wood filler or something, because that kissing booth signage there is kind of etched into the wood. Totally up to you. You'll see, though, once you put this Easter grass on top of it, that you do not even see that. Now, I've got my tray painted here. Again, I didn't worry about the inside of it, and I'm going to go ahead and place one of these Easter grass sets kind of inside of the tray, and you'll see that it is the perfect width for the tray itself. Now, again, this is the tray from Dollar Tree that you can get in the Dollar Tree Plus section. And then for this second piece, I am just going to trim this down just with a pair of scissors and literally just fit it right inside there, because this is going to be my new centerpiece for my dining room table. You could also use this very, very easily for your coffee table. Totally up to you. And because this is actually really, really easy plastic to cut, as you can see, it just comes right apart. We're going to get rid of this price tag, of course, that's still on there. And we're just going to retrofit and insert this right away. And as you can see, it is pretty seamless. Now, this next part here, this is totally up to you. You can decorate your tray however you want. I have this fantastic bunny family that I picked up from Amazon. I thought that this was so cute, and I'm just going to add a very simple candle to the middle of it and keep my table very, very just kind of simple and natural. I love the way this looks. You could also have fun with this, and you could add a Dollar Tree bunny rabbit and some eggs, and you could create a very festive centerpiece that would go with any of your Easter themes. For this next DIY, we're going to be using some of this reindeer moss. I also have this wood bunny cutout and this cute little cotton ball. I'm also going to be taking this Dollar Tree picture frame that has this very cool easel back to it, and we are going to create a fun Easter DIY with this. Now, the first thing I did was take my bunny outside and I did spray paint it pink. You could certainly use chalk paint if you wanted to. I just did the spray paint because I love spray paint. And then for the frame itself, we are going to take our frame and we are going to add some of our Easter moss to it. And the way that we are going to do that is we are going to be gluing this Easter moss or this reindeer moss right on top of the frame. And you can do this directly onto the glass. It will totally hold. And as you can see, I am just working in little batches at a time. I'm adding some of this reindeer moss along it, and then as I am kind of continuing on, I will make sure that I get all of the corners and the edges, and then we will trim away any of that excess Easter moss that is kind of hanging off the sides there, because we are wanting this to look as good as possible, of course, but we want it to look nice and full. Now, the next thing you're going to do after you've got your reindeer moss frame all set up is you are going to take your wooden Easter bunny and you are going to add a ton of hot glue to it, and you are going to glue this directly down in the center of your reindeer moss frame. Now, I thought that this was super, super adorable, and then of course I did have to add that cotton ball tail, and it is the cutest thing that you can put on a tiered tray. You could put it on your coffee table. I think it is super, super adorable, and I love the way that this turned out. Now for my next DIY, we are going to be using this large Easter egg cutout that I picked up from Dollar Tree. It was in the Dollar Tree Plus section, and it was $5. And I am going to be creating my own Easter egg with this. Now, I'm going to be using these bulk flower heads that I picked up on Amazon. If you had Dollar Tree flowers, if you had an excess of them, you could very easily do this same project using those. Now, I took my egg outside, and I am going to be using spray paint once again for this because you know I love my spray paint. And for this one, I am just going to be using that same white matte finish Rust-Oleum spray paint that I used for my tray earlier. I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 really good coats, and then we are going to take this inside, and we are going to start on part 2 of our fun DIY. Now, when I said that this was fun, it is going to be fun because we are going to be using a ton of these flowers. Now, I bought 2 bags of these flowers because I wanted to be sure and have enough to cover this egg completely. And believe it or not, the 2 bags actually worked out perfectly. Now, the only color that I did not use were the red ones. I did go ahead and put those aside. All I'm going to do is just take my flowers and start separating them into 2 piles. And then you'll also notice that the flower heads have this little bit of an end on them. And I'm going to start snipping all of those tips off of there, because we want the flower heads to sit as flat as possible onto our wood surface. Now, once that I have all of those flowers prepared and all of those tips snipped off, I'm going to start layering my flowers onto each section of my egg. Now, my egg just happens to be 4 sections, and I'm using 4 different colors. If that is not something that you wanted to do, if you wanted to add more colors to this, you certainly could. All I'm doing is adding a generous amount of hot glue directly onto each floral petal, and then I am going to be gluing this down directly onto the wood. Now, I love the way that this is turning out, and I love the fact that it's got these great kind of large chunks of colors. Again, if you wanted to mix this up, if you wanted to stripe it, there are so many fun things that you can do. I also noticed that I happen to have a lot more pink flowers than I did some of the other colors. So I started in the smaller sections of the egg with the smaller amounts of flowers. That way I was sure to have maximum coverage in all of the sections that I was working in. Once I had this all done, this is how it looked, and I thought it was super, super cute. I added a very simple bow at the top. I'm not super happy with the bow. I'm probably going to end up going to Dollar Tree soon, and I will definitely pick up some brighter colored Easter ribbon, but I do think that this is a super fun DIY, and it is very, great for Easter. It would look fantastic out on the front porch or even in your living room somewhere. We are going to take this welcome sign that I picked up from Target Dollar Spot. I almost said Dollar Tree. And then greenery. Now, you can get greenery from anywhere. Dollar Tree, any kind of places that you would typically shop at. This raffia, or this kind of grapevine wreath that I picked up, this was from a yard sale. It was $3. I've had this for quite a while. I love to kind of freshen it up with each season. And the great thing about working with these kind of raffia, or these grapevine wreaths, is that you can tuck your greenery into these and you don't even have to worry about using any glue. Now, you could certainly use some hot glue if you wanted to, if yours was going to be maybe out in like a windy area. But I'm telling you, if you have some stems that are long enough, you can feed them into this grapevine kind of raffia wreath form thing, and it really holds, and it is very sturdy. Now, I have reused and kind of refreshened this wreath form a couple different times, and it's definitely one of my favorites. I can only imagine what a wreath form like this size would have cost me if I bought it retail. This is what it looks like on my front door. I absolutely love it. Welcome to my home. And now for this next project, we are taking these pennant flags that I picked up from Crafter Square. This came in a package of 6. They're all joined together like this, and they're hard to find. So if you snag them, if you can find them, snag them, snag them, snag them. Now, these bunny garlands are super cute. They're super cute by themselves. However, we are going to make something a little more fun with them. You will need a skewer in addition to some white beads. Now, you could paint your beads if you have them, or you could just use a strand like I've got. Go ahead and take all of your pennant flags off of your twine. Now, you could kind of unfold them or unstitch them, but I think this is easier, just keeping it on the twine and then taking your beads and feeding them in between each one of those pennant flags. Now, a little tip for the pennant flag, you're going to add some twine onto that skewer and kind of use that as a thread. And then when you've got all of your pennant flags kind of strung back together, go ahead and take your garland pieces, separate them from the twine that they came on, the little bunnies, and then you're going to add some hot glue, and you're going to glue these directly down on top of your little burlappy pennant flags. Now, this is kind of a plasticky burlap, so it's actually going to hold up really well. And with the addition of the beads, your strand or your string is going to be a little bit smaller. So I ended up only using 5 pennant flags and 5 bunnies. Obviously, if you wanted to just add a brand new piece of twine to this, you could make this as long as you wanted to. I think if I were to redo this, I was definitely going to make it longer and wider. That way it goes all across the front of my fireplace. But as you will see, how cute is this? This is just so adorable. I love the colors. I love the addition of the beads, especially with the white kind of gingham in there. So cute and perfect for Easter. Now, this next DIY is going to incorporate this little bucket that I grabbed from Dollar Tree, and then I have some miscellaneous kind of greenery pieces here. These came from Hobby Lobby, and then the boxwood is actually from Dollar Tree. Now, if you don't have any boxwood at your Dollar Tree, or you don't want to purchase any at like Michael's, you can grab a plant that you might already have. This is a boxwood plant that I have from IKEA, so I'm going to add it to my bucket. It's the perfect size, and I can kind of update it and do different things with it and not have to worry about ruining it or messing it up. It can be my like holiday boxwood. So I'm going to take some beads here that I have inside of my bucket, and we're just going to strand those. This is just using a piece of cotton twine that is from Dollar Tree as well. We're going to tie this onto the handles of my bucket. Now, one side of the bucket says hope, and then the other side is just plain. I'm kind of showcasing the plain side, but just so you know, if you're looking for these in your store, this is what the little strand of beads looks like. It looks like a little necklace on there. I love it. And then go ahead and open up your floral pieces. Now, for these kind of white pieces, we're just going to kind of spread those apart there and kind of figure out what is next with those. What's so great about these too is that you can just pull these off of here. Now, again, I've seen floral pieces like this at Dollar Tree, at Michael's, at Hobby Lobby. So wherever you find yours is totally up to you. Grab your kind of raffia pieces and then just kind of insert those little white kind of pearl-esque floral things, I don't know what they're called, into your boxwood, just kind of creating little sprays that are kind of coming out on each side. And when you've got that in a good position, you're going to take your styrofoam Easter eggs. Now, these did come from Hobby Lobby. They actually sell some of these at Dollar Tree that are already on picks. So if you can find those are even better. Take your Easter eggs. You're just going to put a hole in the bottom of them with your glue gun, squirt some glue in there while you're at it, and then add a skewer. And you're going to do this until you have the great color combo that you are going for. Now, my eggs come in a couple different sizes, so I am using about 3 sizes of each color, and 2 of the medium size or 2 of the larger size, and then 1 of the smaller size in each color. And then once I've got all of those done and ready to go, we are going to be adding these into our bouquet. Now, if you're using a bouquet that has like a styrofoam base in it, then you don't have to worry about cutting down your skewers. Now remember, I'm using a plant that is kind of already established, we'll say. So I'm going to trim those down, and we're going to make them just long enough that they fit inside of my bucket there. How cute is this? I love this so much and think this is the perfect addition to like your dining room table or your coffee table. Super cute. Now for this next DIY, we're going to take one of these chargers. I did pick this up at Hobby Lobby. You can find chargers at Dollar Tree, and you can easily recreate this kind of worn out, this little rustic look. These bunnies I thought were super adorable, and we are going to kind of make a raised tray. Now the bunnies have a somewhat flat head, and that kind of works perfectly because with the edge of the charger plate there, you can easily add these bunnies, and then while the glue is still a little bit warm, go ahead and flip it over so the bunnies are standing, and this is what it looks like when it's all dry. How cute is this? Just by itself, it's super adorable. Imagine this as a centerpiece on your coffee table or dining room table. Super cute and so easy to make. Now this next DIY is also really easy. You're going to incorporate 2 things from Dollar Tree, this strand of beads, and then this kind of, what is it? It's a heart, but what is that? It's not raffia. It's kind of like a basket material. Is that raffia? So go ahead and cut your tags off, get rid of those, and then you're going to also get rid of this ribbon. You could certainly cut that off and save it if you needed to. Take some twine, because you're going to make this a little bit longer than it currently is, and you're going to double over a piece of twine, and then you're going to add some hot glue on the end of it. That way it kind of creates almost like a needle effect to this. Go ahead and trim it at an edge. Make sure that you've got a nice sharp end there, and then we're going to start threading our beads. So we're going to take those beads off of that kind of door hanger piece of it was from Crafter Square, the black and white and brown beads that you see there. And I'm very technical today with my jargon, as you can tell. And we're going to just thread this until you get it the color combination and the length that you want. Really, this is totally up to you. I went with the black and white theme because I thought it was just kind of perfect, and it just kind of goes with really kind of everything that I've got going on for Easter in my house this year. I'm keeping everything kind of neutral with blacks and whites and browns, and then little pops of green. Go ahead and take your kind of tassel and your beaded tassel and tie it onto there, but you're also going to make sure that you keep these pieces a little bit longer, because we're going to add some additional beads just as some kind of dangly pieces here. Now, same process, go ahead and kind of create that needle point with the end of it. That way you can thread your beads, just add a little bit of hot glue, wait until it kind of cools off a little bit, and then go ahead and thread your beads. We're going to add a white and a black bead onto this, and then we're going to just tie a very simple knot in the end of this. Go ahead and kind of position that where you think it's going to be best. I went with mine to where it was hanging just a little bit, and then I did add a double knot in the end of it, and when it was all done, this is what it looks like. like. Super, super cute. Love this as an accent on a coffee table, on a tiered tray. Definitely would look good anywhere for the holiday season. And what's great about this one is that it will last past the holidays as well. Using this glass vase that I grabbed from Goodwill, I'm going to add some of these moss rocks from Dollar Tree on the inside. I'm going to make sure that those are nice and flat, or as flat as rocks can be. And then I'm going to add these Easter egg ornaments on the inside. These are super cute. I'm going to use them as vase filler. They work really good on wreaths or on an Easter tree. I'm going to add 2 packages into my vase. Go ahead and adjust your Easter egg needs based on your wreath. Now for this wood circle, because you will see it and it's going to rest kind of on top of this, I am going to paint this. So I'm going to use my Arteza acrylic paint, and I am just going to paint this on both sides. And I'm going to also make sure that the sides of that wood circle are painted. I took out my heat gun and just made sure that my paint was nice and dry, and then I added it back inside of my cylinder, kind of like so. Those Easter eggs that are in there are perfect because they're helping to hold that circle in place. I'm going to add some of this moss, and then I'm going to embellish the top of this with what I think is the best kept secret ever. This ceramic egg kit comes with this adorable little bunny. You don't even have to paint it. Just add it into your tier trays or into your thing that I'm making here, and it is such a cute Easter embellishment. I added a candle that is in its own votive. It is nice and secure. You could certainly add a battery operated candle if you'd like, and embellished it with another styrofoam Easter egg. Now, before I show you what this all looks like styled, I'm actually going to make one more really quick project. So I have these Easter pics of these Easter eggs, and there are 3 different sizes here, and I have this little basket that is left over from a project that I made in a previous video. All I did was take one of those plastic succulent pots and wrap it in twine with some glue. I'm going to add some rocks down in the bottom of it, some like Dollar Tree legit rocks. And then I'm going to add some of these moss rocks in there as well. And we're going to be building a little topiary with these. As you can see, I'm going in with some of my moss and just kind of filling in some of the sides here. I didn't have any pool noodles or floral foam or anything like that to be able to kind of stuff the planter with, so I improvised, and I think it turned out just fine. For the largest part of the topiary, or the base, I'm actually going to take the largest egg here, and I'm going to pull it off of the skewer. Now, these are glued down, so you will have to put a little bit of pressure on it, but it will come off. And that little bow, by the way, definitely save those bows because they are fun to use for other projects. Now, I'm just going to kind of clean it up a little bit, and then I'm going to take my skewer and just park it. I'm going to stuff it down in the center there, and I am going to add a little bit of hot glue on this just to make sure that everything is good and sturdy. And once it is parked on the inside, I'm going to take that egg and I'm going to feed it through. But you will see here that I mess up and my skewer comes out of the wrong side of my egg. Now, I thought that I could probably just continue to push through and make it work, but it's not going to work. So I'm just going to take the egg off of there, and I'm going to grab another one. I wish I had another blue egg because blue is my favorite color, but instead I'm going to go with this purple one. And then I'm going to go a little bit slower feeding that skewer through the egg. The egg is styrofoam, so it definitely will poke through there. And as you can see, I'm just kind of going a little bit slower each time. And then boom, crack the egg at the top. But that's okay because this particular one is the bottom part of the topiary. Now I'm going to take a medium-sized egg, and I'm going to pick this polka-dotted one that I really thought was super cute. And kind of do the same thing. Rip the egg off of the skewer, save that bow for something else, and then feed this egg through as carefully as I can. I probably could have used a drill bit or something like that, or maybe even another skewer, but as you can see, it's working. It may not be the most effective way to do it, but it definitely is working, and you're seeing it in a video, so that means it worked for me. Now I'm going to take the smaller egg, or the smallest egg, and repeat the same process. Now I will go ahead and trim off this skewer. I only want 3 eggs on my topiary. If you wanted to make a much taller one, you could definitely continue to use a longer skewer and add more eggs to it. For this particular one, because I cut that skewer just a little bit too short, I am going to add some hot glue onto the edge of it there. And then I'm going to take my egg and just stick it right on top of my topiary, which kind of finishes it off. And I think it looks super, super cute the way it is, but I am going to go back in and add one of those bows that was left over from the eggs. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a haircut here and just kind of trim away some of that moss also. And as you can see, everything is completed. I love the way that these look on my rope tray that I have in my living room. You could easily put these elements into a tiered tray. I think that they would be super, super cute. By the way, that egg that you see, that is also made with Artesa's acrylic pour paint, and that is in a previous video that I will link below for you. All right, everyone, and for the next project, we're going to be using one of these wreath rings. They come in a 2-pack from Dollar Tree. Also, we're going to be using 2 packages of these, I call them chubby bunnies. And I loved these bunnies. They kind of reminded me of Peeps. I was originally going to do a Peep wreath, and I thought that might not be good because the Peeps might attract some bugs or I don't know. I live in Georgia, so one day it's 70 degrees and the next day it's 20 degrees. So you never know what kind of critters will end up outside. And I didn't want to have to deal with that on my front porch. So we're going to use these plastic bunnies instead. Now, these guys are super cute. I didn't have a styrofoam wreath form or anything like that. And I wanted to use what I had on hand. So I am going to have to improvise here. Now, our bunnies will not stick super well to this metal wreath form. I could try and use some different variations of hot glue. And I don't know, I just thought that it might not work. So then I thought, okay, I could split these bunnies up like this, and I could use them that way. And again, it's still going to be that plastic on that metal ring, and it's just not going to work. So I was trying to figure out how can I create this really cute wreath that is going to be made with these plastic kind of peep things. And then I've got to deal with that spacing in between as well. So I'm going to add some floral picks to that. So now I've got to figure out how to make this wreath work. And the way I'm going to do it is by using a product called Catch. Now, Catch makes crafting mats, and they also make their version of a painter's tape. And what's really cool about this tape is that it is actually sticky on one side, and the kind of a furrier looking side that you see there, that is actually to catch any kind of paint drip. So it's actually really, really cool. But what's great about that sticky side is that it also sticks to my wreath form here. So I'm going to take my Catch painter's tape and wrap my wire wreath form with it. That way I have a surface that will stick those bunnies and the embellishments from the picks onto this. So we're going to speed wrap this. I'm speeding up the footage here just a little bit. And I'm going to completely cover this wreath form using my Catch painter's tape. Now, yeah, this is not a traditional way to use this product. This product is great for catching spills and paint messes, and it's really great to have for a crafting project. However, I say use what you have on hand and improvise as much as you can. Once again, the great thing about that fabric is that it is designed to catch whatever kind of spills or anything, so you know it's going to hold things like moss and glue and plastic bunnies. Now I'm taking a kind of a scrap sheet of this moss, and I'm going to cut it into squares, and I'm going to be gluing these squares onto my wreath form. Now you're probably thinking, why didn't you use some of that loose moss that you used in the previous project? Well, I used all the loose moss on those projects, and I don't have any left, and I don't want to destroy those projects, so I'm going to improvise and again just use what I have on hand. So I'm taking my little square moss pieces and random triangle pieces and literally just going to glue them down. And what's great about this is that I don't have to use hardly any hot glue at all for this, because the Catch surface is catching that glue, and it's going to keep everything solid on my wreath form. Now that I've got everything completely covered, it's time to start adding my bunnies. For my bunnies, all I'm going to do is just add some hot glue on the portion or the parts, the sides, the back, the ribs of the bunny that will have contact with the wreath form itself. Now, trust me on this. I know it looks a little janky, but remember, we are going to be using the floral picks that I will show you in just a minute. And they are going to fill in some of those rough looking edges. I fully admit that, believe me, I actually almost scrapped this entire project, but I love the way it turned out. I am so happy with it. So trust me, don't turn the video off yet. So continue to add your glue to your, we'll call them the bunny rib cages, and just work your way all around until you have all of your bunnies secured in place. And again, because I didn't fill in that wreath form completely with that moss, I am using that catch painter's tape to my advantage. It is holding my bunnies in place. Life is good in bunny world right now. All right, and now it's time to take baby ugly bunny wreath and make it prettier. So I'm going to be using these floral picks that I grabbed from Dollar Tree, and I'm literally just going to start cutting these pieces off of the pick. I love working with floral picks because it gives you so much variety, and it's really, really easy to use. And all I'm going to do is take their lineman pliers. That's what I have in my hand there. And I'm just kind of separating all of these. I love lineman pliers because they're so handy. You can use them as wire cutters. You can use them for other things you might use with pliers. I don't know, but check this out. See how it easily just snaps through all of those. And again, I'm not using a whole lot of hand strength. I think the worst part of floral picks are taking off those little Dollar Tree tags. So now that I have everything kind of separated, I'm going to just start trimming some of these down as I need to, and I'm just going to start filling them in on, honestly, where I think that they would look good. And this is what it looks like on my door. I absolutely love the way this turned out. I love the color combination. I love the peeps inspiration. I even think I like the way it looks on my random purplish, reddish, burgundy-ish door that is going to be painted soon, by the way. And again, super, super cute. Very, very easy to do. I think it looks a lot better when it's finished. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know below. All right, everyone, and for the next project, I'm going to be using one of these Dollar Tree door hangers. I love this door hanger, and it's got a lot of different variety. I think that the sizing are also perfect for these smaller wreath forms. If you can snag these, definitely get them. I like to buy these variations in all of the different holidays. I think that they're super, super versatile. And I think for this wreath form, I'm either going to be using the bunny or the chicken, or at least that's what I thought when I started this project, but you'll see I actually ended up switching it up. I'm also going to use that second wire wreath form that was left over from that previous project, and then I'm going to be using a ton of these carrots. I think that there are 4 or 5 packages of those carrots here. And then off to the left-hand corner there, you can see I have some of that burlappy wire ribbon that I picked up during the fall. I'm bummed because I'm almost out of it, so I definitely will need to get more of it when I see it. So go ahead and take all your carrots out of the package, and then you are going to start gluing these little suckers down to your wreath form. Now, because these carrots are made with styrofoam and twine, they actually stick perfectly fine to the wire wreath form. The hot glue with the combination of the twine and the styrofoam, it works out good. So you're just going to continue working your way all the way around the wreath until you have a wreath form that is covered in carrots. Once everything was solid, it was time to go ahead and add my embellishment. I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to use the bunny or the chicken or a combo. I didn't really love the way that the bunny looked. I liked the chicken a little bit better. I really wanted something that was going to be larger. So then I ended up deciding to use the Happy Easter sign that is at the top of that door hanger. Now, what's really cool about that door hanger is even though it has that hook at the top, or that little hole, you know, where you hang the the door hanger on the door. I'm able to trim that away really easily with just a pair of scissors because this door hanger is kind of made out of cardboard. Then I just added some hot glue on the back of my Happy Easter chicken egg sign here and just glued it directly down on top of the carrots. Once that was dry, I then took one of my mesh ribbon bows and just stuck it right down to the bottom. This is how it looks, and I absolutely love this again and think it's super cute. I love the way this looks on the door as well. Let's face it, I'm going to have some really, really cute options for Easter decor. I love the punch of color. I love the whimsy that's involved with it. And I think that this is a super, super easy one for you to recreate for your own home. You've probably figured out that this video is a lot of wreaths, and I don't know, I was just in the mood. Now, I had this wire welcome wreath form that you can find at Dollar Tree, and then I had this wisteria branch, I think that's what it is, and I am going to go ahead and use some of my famous mesh ribbon. I'm almost out of my mesh ribbon, and the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut those tags off. And then we're going to separate our florals and our pieces from our stem. You can go ahead and just discard that stem, or you can keep that. It may come in handy for another project. You really never know. And then for the florals themselves, I thought that I would just kind of wrap that welcome sign, but I don't want it to cover up the welcome word. I do want to be able to see that. So I am going to just trim this down. I happen to just have the wire cutters or my lineman pliers handy, so I used that. A pair of scissors would have worked just fine as well, but I didn't put them back in the caddy like they're supposed to be, so I didn't know where they were. And now for this one, you can't really, I guess you probably could try and use hot glue, but I wanted to make sure that this would stay on better. So I'm just going to use some of this twine that I have left over. It's kind of a light, kind of almost like a white color, and I think it's going to blend in really well. The great thing about this too is that you're not going to have to use a whole lot of this. You'll see that I only use a piece of twine kind of at the end of each side of the floral piece, and then I do end up adding one more in the middle as well. So once that is set, I think it looks really, really cute, and I love the way it looks. It's time to go ahead and start adding our greenery to the bottom part of this. And then to add the green pieces, I'm going to also go ahead and just use my twine once again. What's really cool about the twine is because it is twine and not glued in place, it's pretty easy to be able to hide some of your twine that you're going to use. Again, you're not going to need a ton of this. I added a piece of twine at the top and at the base of each one of those branches, and then just kind of strategically placed them to where the leaves did not cover up my welcome sign. Once it's all complete, this is what it looks like. I really love the way this looks. And again, this is a great option for spring. I think that this one could easily outlast the other two Easter wreaths that I made. And again, I love the punch of color. I love the way this looks on the front door. It's very, very simple, and it's kind of a cool way to just decorate a very simple wreath form for your front door. You're going to take 4 of these Dollar Tree pallets, also some craft sticks and some wood Jenga pieces. The first thing I'm going to do is build my box. I'm going to do that using my Shore Bonder glue gun. This glue that is actually in the glue gun is also made by Shore Bonder, and it is a wood glue. So it makes doing projects like this very, very easy. It's great because it's liquid, just like a hot glue gun would be, but it dries really fast like a hot glue gun does. After I've got 3 sides built and they are all nice and sturdy and glued together, I'm going to then add my 4th piece onto the end, kind of like so. Again, once this is all set and dry, then it's time to add the bottom of the box, which you'll be doing on the top side of the box. For this, all you're going to do is take your oversized craft sticks and literally just start gluing them across the bottom of the box. As you can see, they are the perfect fit and they are the perfect length for the box. And then once that's dried, I'm going to go ahead and take my Jenga pieces and just glue one in each corner of my box. It just gives it some extra stability and you can barely see it. I then took my Waverly Antiquing Wax in white and just started to cover my project. I wanted this to be fairly light, almost like a whitewash. For this technique, I'm literally just putting it on and then taking a rag and just wiping it away until it's all dry and it is the perfect color. I added some Dollar Tree boxwoods to my box, kind of like so. And now I'm going to take one of these carrots. I love these carrots so much. What's really cool about these carrots is that the inside is actually made with styrofoam. So it's very easy to skewer it, kind of like so. Once you've got it skewered, just go ahead and trim that skewer down to the perfect size and add it to your arrangement. The next thing I'm going to do is decorate this wooden egg. Whitney from Whiskey and Wit included this in my mystery box a couple months ago, and I've never used it, so now is the time. I'm going to first drill a hole in the bottom of the egg and then add a little bit of hot glue and a skewer. This is going to help when I paint it, but also help when I add it to my arrangement. I'm going to use my acrylic pouring paint, and I'm just going to cover it in pink, just with a really light coat. I'm going to balance it on that ruler over that solo cup so I can go ahead and get my acrylic pour paints mixed together, although we're not technically mixing anything together. The great thing about acrylic pour paints is that they include a chemical called Floral or something similar that actually prevents your colors from mixing together. Once you have your acrylic pours in the cup, you're literally going to then pour it on top of your project. This works on canvas, it works on rocks, it works on cardboard, it works on a variety of surfaces, and Arteza makes it super simple because you do not have to add any other colors to this, which I love, or any other chemicals for that matter. So once everything has dried, for this one, I'm going to let it sit for 24 hours. I have it skewered and stuck in that wood block. Now I'm going to add a bow to my box. Now I hate making bows on camera. I don't think I'm very good at them, at least not the making of them and teaching part of them anyway. And then I added my skewers and my eggs, and everything was beautiful. I love the way that this turned out. You could certainly add your own variety of flowers to this. It's a cute arrangement, and it's something very different and fun for Easter. And speaking of Easter and more fun, we are going to make some garland. For the garland, you're going to use a couple packages of these carrots, some twine, and then also some beads of any color. Also, I do recommend that you grab an embroidery needle. I picked these up from Amazon, and you're going to take your thread and just thread your needle. And then I'm going to take 6 beads and a carrot, and 6 beads and a carrot, and just continue that process until I have a piece of garland or a strand of garland that is the appropriate size or the perfect size for my project. Now, the great thing about those carrots, remember, they are styrofoam. So that embroidery needle is actually going to go through nicely. And if you used a regular sewing needle, it might be a little small. You might be able to do it. Maybe if you used thread instead of a thicker twine like I used. But either way, I think you will agree that this is going to be the cutest garland when it's all done. You could certainly mix up your beads if you wanted to do some larger and some smaller. I happen to have all of these beads from a Christmas garland that I cut apart. So again, that needle also helps thread those beads. It helps a lot, actually. And then once you have your garland at the desired level or desired length, I don't know why I said level, go ahead and just tie it off in a circle, kind of like I did here, and that will give you something to hang your garland with. Again, super cute. I love the way this looks on my little fireplace, and it is the perfect start to decorating the fireplace for Easter. And for my next project, we're going to make a decorative box or decorative ceramic box. First thing I'm going to use is the base for one of these decorative ceramic boxes that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. I actually used the lid for another project, so I had the base left over. Also, you're going to take 2 of these garden chimes. And the first one you're going to take, and you're going to actually bend it to fit on top of your ceramic box, kind of like so. And just take those floral petals and literally start bending them down. The first set of floral petals you're actually going to then bend to where they're very tightly fitting on top of the lid. So hopefully that makes sense. The second one, you're going to kind of fluff up your flower a little bit more, kind of like I'm doing here. You're going to pull those leaves apart and definitely expose where they did not paint those leaves all together. And for this,
you're going to also, of course, remove all of those little chimes or those hanging hardwares. And for that, again, I just use my lineman pliers. And now you're going to take your two flowers and glue them together so you have something that looks like this. Again, I think this is super, super cute. I love the way this looks even right now, but we are going to take these outside and paint them. Now, when I got outside, I realized that I really loved the pattern on that ceramic base. So I decided not to paint that. Instead, I'm going to paint my flower a complementary color. I'm going to use this midnight blue from Rust-Oleum, and I'm going to paint the inside and the outside of that flower. This took about 2 coats, I would say, and it was mainly just because I needed to get into the kind of the cracks and the crevices of the flower. Again, Rust-Oleum paint works so good on metal. This was super, super easy. Then I just added it right back on top of the box, and you have the cutest little decorative box that you can put in the bathroom. You can put Q-tips or dental picks or anything in this. I really, really love this. I think it would be amazing if it was also spray painted all in white, or even to keep jewelry in. For my next project, you're going to use one of these trays. I picked this up from Plaid Crafts. This was actually from a store called Pop Shelf. I think you can probably order this online or even find it on Amazon. I'm going to add a piece of cardstock to the base of that tray and just kind of cut it out to mimic that same design. Now, these can be a little challenging, as you know, but I'm going to take a clear cutting mat from Dollar Tree. I'm going to lay it on top of my tray, and then I'm going to take a Sharpie and just slowly trace around the interior part of the tray, literally giving myself a mold, if you will. And then I'm going to take, is it a mold? I don't think it's a mold. What is it? A stencil? Anyway, I think you understand what I'm doing here. And I did add some Scotch tape on either end of it and then trimmed it out. And look how perfectly that fits down inside of here. Like, this is kind of a foolproof method because sometimes it's really hard to cover the insides of those trays. Now I'm going to take my template and add it on top, or add it to the back of my cardstock. This is the print that's on the back side here. And I'm going to take a pencil and literally just once again start tracing around that template. And then once I have that template all traced out, I'm going to take some scissors and just literally trim it out and just fit it down in the bottom of the tray. And it is going to fit perfectly. Now, I am going to take my tray outside. I'm going to give this a couple coats of my white spray paint and then take it back inside. Once I've got it inside, I'm going to add some of this white glue stick just to the bottom of the tray, just to make sure that everything holds nice and firm and stays in place. And then I'm going to add my scrapbook paper right on top and have the cutest tray for my coffee table. I think this is super, super sweet, and it is the perfect way to start decorating once again for Easter.